From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark. It's Wake Up War Chant, proudly presented by Zaxby's. We are part of the WarChant.com family. Use the promo code WarChant30 for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. Also, if you wouldn't mind, folks, maybe rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff on iTunes for us. Hook us up with a 5-star review. We always appreciate that. But what I appreciate more is Corey Clark just being here every day, being the rock, being the trendsetter, the harbinger, the just the pace setter of what we do here on a day-to-day basis, although we were off yesterday and we'll be off tomorrow. But he's here. Corey, what up?
What's up? How you doing? Golly, sorry about that.
Caught you off guard there, didn't I, huh?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to talk that soon.
Yeah. You gonna go to the Battery later today? Go catch game one with Brady?
No, I feel like we're going to do that if they get to the World Series. We'll definitely go down there for one game if they get to the World Series, but other than that, no.
Okay.
Well, apparently it costs like $100 to park down there now.
Oh, what?
Before the game, yeah. Even if you're not going to the game, the spots around the stadium that are pay parking, and you always have to have a pass. They're all pass parking. $100 is what I saw on Twitter. Yeesh. So, new things. I guess you got Uber down there.
Yeah, guess you could. You could. All right. So they're on a bye, as you all know. Your favorite football team is not playing a game this week, which is was cool. I'm able to catch up on my rest. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a better mood. I feel this is about as good as I felt. You know, like football players, they feel their best week one. Like, man, you don't get any better after that. You just keep getting different degrees of hurt. Like, I'm back. Mm-hmm. I'm back, man. I'm 100%. Just like these 3 days of being able to sleep like a grown man till 10 in the morning has just been great. I don't know how you've been feeling, Corey.
Good, buddy. And I feel like it's kind of like our bowl game. You just feel refreshed. Yeah. Got about 3 weeks off. I know we've only gotten 3 days off as far as getting up early, but still, just feels good. Feels good to wake up at not 7:15 in the morning.
Yeah, tell me about it. You know what would feel good? Increasing my overall net worth. You know? That'd be good. Folks, right. Check it out. Now may be the time to refinance your mortgage, or maybe you're in the market looking to purchase a home. If either is true, First Commerce Financial is a pure mortgage broker who eliminates the junk fees associated with most mortgages. In fact, mention that you heard them on War Chant. They'll also waive your appraisal fee if you're a qualified borrower. First Commerce Financial's mission is to provide transparent mortgage solutions to help you grow your overall net worth. If you or someone you know is in the market to buy or refinance, give First Commerce Financial a call at 248-207-2404. Or if you want to go on the web, check them out at firstcommercefinancial.com. First Commerce Financial, licensed in Florida, Michigan, Arizona, California.
Well done, buddy.
So, you know what time it is, everybody. I just read all that. That means it's Renegade Express time. It is brought to you by our good friends at First Commerce Financial. I'm going to scroll down. We're going to start off with a question that I really don't have an answer to, so we're off to a really rousing start. It comes from Kyle A. Knoll, saying that he hopes that Zaxby's is paying us well. He has found himself picking up chicken tenders from there almost weekly after they started sponsoring the show. I hope you guys aren't using some kind of subliminal messaging. I don't think we have. Are you, Corey?
I feel like it's not subliminal. It's just overt. Hey, everyone, go to Zaxby's.
Eat it.
Eat it twice a week at least.
Kyle's got a bit of a winding question. He ends it off with asking me that he likes Persian food and whether I found any good restaurants near Tallahassee. Yeah, they're called Zaxby's. Check them out, Kyle. Basically, he's only heard me mention the possibility of Briles leaving after this season. Earlier this year, he thinks that someone, maybe Ira, said there's usually a gentleman's agreement that there's a 2-year minimum when these coaches kind of show up. But his concern is that the depth on the lines is lacking. Things could digress if there's injuries. Transfer portal is always a good thing. JUCOs, like, would there be big concern if there's any more injuries on the lines? I guess at least for this season in the near term.
Offensively, I guess he's saying, if he's talking about Briles.
Yeah, and Clements as well.
Well, Yeah, I mean, as far as the depth on the line, yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot of great players anyway. So these dudes that are starting aren't incredible. So you can't imagine the guys that didn't beat them out are great either. I think I think, a couple of these guys like Brady Scott's just a sophomore. He should be pretty good by the time he's a senior. I truly believe that. I think he's going to be a good player. I think Dante Lucas has a chance to play in the league. Babion, you can't get really a read on that kid. But basically, you're just going to have to. This line is only going to get better. I mean, I'm not. I guess, yeah, of course, you're concerned about if these guys start going down because you're not really a good offensive line anyway. So if you're playing the backups on a not good offensive line, that's bad news. But just in general with the offensive line, you got to recruit to it. I don't know that the answers are on the roster other than the ones I mentioned, Brady and Dante Lucas. Obviously Ryan Roberts is gone after this year. I don't know that the real answers are here. You just got to hope you can bring in some guys, maybe JUCO.
That's what he was saying.
Maybe a transfer. And going into next year, you're going to have to, yes. What are you going to do at right tackle?
Right.
I mean, I don't know that you can play Abdul Bello anymore. And Jawan Williams, I mean, we don't even know if he's any good yet. So, yeah, you're going to have to replenish somehow.
I think they've gone that route before. I mean, I don't think Baylor made a living out of just living off of 2-star kids, under-recruited kids, and coaching them up and letting them kind of, grow in their system. I think they've gone that avenue before. Obviously, there's numerous good junior colleges in the state of Texas, so maybe they can have some of their ties. But
go to the MAC, and instead of getting Ryan Roberts, who's done, he's serviceable, sure. Nice, great kid, by the way. He's going to be a senator one day.
Yes.
Go to the MAC and get the best lineman in the MAC. Like, what if Ball State has just an incredible left guard or center? Well, go get him and say, man, do you want to spend your last year in Muncie, Indiana? Or do you want to come play in the ACC on the ACC network? Do you want to be on the ACC network, getting to play Clemson and Florida and Miami? And I guess you get to go to the Blue Field in Boise. Go get the best. Go get the 2 best linemen in every Group of 5 conference. That would be my recruiting pitch. That would be my recruiting strategy if I was David Kelly.
All right. We'll see if we can
relay because they can help right away. Ryan Roberts has helped right away, and I'm sure some of those guys aren't NFL prospects, even though they're really good college offensive linemen. So go get the guy from get some kid from San Diego State or Ball State. And bring him into Florida State for one last run.
Pilfer the MAC. That's what we're going to do.
Exactly right.
Jebifer29 says, wake up. Long-time listener, first-time caller. We need to harken back to Wally Jim Jordan days and get some Jamex Blackbrook or maybe Jamex Horniman. Start whichever quarterback has the best week of practice, then just ride the hot hand, make the opposing defense prepare for 2 quarterbacks. What say ye? Love the show.
Well, I said on headlines that I think the name should be, for people that don't know, Wally Jim Jordan was the name that was bestowed upon Wally Woodham and Jim Jordan because they split time back in, I feel like it was 79 and 80, definitely 79, where Bowden would just play the hot hand. So they both started games. They both came in relief. They both always played. So it was Wally Jim Jordan was the nickname for those 2 guys. And so I came up with Alex James Horniblack.
Okay.
Right? That's a pretty good name, right?
Yeah.
It's better than Horny Man if you wanted to combine this, the prefix and the suffix. I think Horniblack is better. Or Blackbrook. Okay. Or Manbrook. Brookman. I just think that Alex James Horniblack is the way to go.
Why not Jim? Like instead of James, just call me Jim Alex Horniman. Jim Alex
Horniman? All right, that's
Jim
good.
Alex Blackbrook.
Blackbrook, yeah. Well, there's a lot of possibilities, folks. We're going to have to come up with a consensus and go with it.
And we'll figure it out.
And I do think that that's what's going to happen. In fact, there will be a column out soon on War Chant from yours truly about the fact that will probably be the case. Neither one of these guys, I think, is quite good enough to just have the job solidified for the next 7 weeks. I do think they're both going to play. I think they're probably both going to play in every game. Blackman, I would imagine, would start, but it will be nice if he has a struggle like he's had in really every game this year where the offense has kind of started to grind to a halt, that you can maybe give some fresh legs and some and give it a shot of adrenaline by putting Hornibrook in there. And then if Hornibrook starts to struggle, then you bring Blackman back. I do think that's going to be the case.
We'll jump around here. Maxwell Gibbs says, "Wake up, you jabronis. Alex Hornibrook is 24-6 as a starting quarterback. James Blackman is 8-8. Don't sit there and tell me James is the best option. Saying he has a stronger arm is like John James saying B.J. Daniels, quote, throws the ball with great distances." Well,
I mean, my retort to that was, my man, that was the first 300-yard game Alex Hornibrook has ever had. And look, I appreciate what he did at Wisconsin as far as playing in big games. How many of those games did they win because of him? You can't tell me that if James Blackman would have been on those Wisconsin teams, they would have been 13-13, or 17-13. I think they would have been 24-6. I don't know how many games that Alex Hornibrook won for Wisconsin at Wisconsin. He happened to be the starting quarterback who would throw 18 times a game and hand the ball off a lot. I'm not trying to dismiss the kid. I think he's had a nice couple of games. But I'm not a huge fan of the win-loss records with quarterbacks, right? Because Thad Busby was 22-2? Well, and man, go look at Thad Busby's numbers.
Well, Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, Matt Mock at LSU, Matt Flynn at LSU, pretty much everybody at LSU.
The kid at Wisconsin now, is he a great quarterback? I don't think so. But they're undefeated, I think. So yeah, I think you play whoever runs the offense better, not because somebody won a bunch of games in the Big Ten in 2017.
I also think NC State,
play him against Miami a little bit. He owns those guys.
Yeah, there you go. Also says, FYI, Corey, Brian Burns is ranked the number 2 overall rookie in the NFL according to NFL experts. You should tell Jeff Cameron to eat crow, or tell me.
Oh yeah, trust me. He's going to eat a lot of crow. He kind of ate crow in the middle of last season.
Yeah.
After we had that debate. But, hey, nobody brings that up. It's always Maryland's going to be a problem. That's all I ever hear about. That's all I'm saying.
Do you have an elevator pitch answer to Maxwell's last question, which is what's your outlook for the basketball team this season?
Yeah, I think they're going to be in the tournament, but I think you're looking at like anywhere from a 7 to a 10 seed. They just lost a lot of talent. And they have some talent on this team, but it's young. Not a ton of guys returning that have had big minutes for Florida State. I'm interested to see Patrick Williams. But, yeah, I would say I'm looking at somewhere, it's a tough schedule, anywhere from a 7 to a 10 seed, and then hopefully you can make some noise in the tournament. And I'm really looking forward to watching Trent Forrest.
Yep. Vassell, Forrest, Malik Osborne, lots of good pieces out there.
MJ Walker. But, Osborne and Patrick Williams and those guys and the transfer from Ole Miss, they haven't played on this team yet. So we don't know for sure what they are.
Big Steve-O 22. He's got a lot. How about Cyrus Fagan? Watching his after-game interview, I'm impressed. He definitely showed that he is passionate about this team and demands for his defensive backs to be perfect. If they are all thinking like that, I hope they can begin to translate that passion onto the field. Asks about Clemson. You mentioned that Clemson will come out to prove a point due to their performance against North Carolina, and they're dropping the rankings. But what about our Noles coming out feeling confident that they will be able to compete with them? That's part of the battle, right? Most teams come off the bus defeated, he says. Florida State probably won't.
Yeah, I'm interested, man. The more I think about this game, obviously I don't think it's going to be a Florida State win. Ira gave me grief for keep saying that they're not going to win as if I know, like it's a sure thing. I feel like it's pretty much a sure thing, but I guess I can give you a few percentage points that Florida State can pull off the upset. But I wonder, Florida State, they got so embarrassed and humiliated by this team last year. Just, again, I always bring it up, Dabo throwing to his own kid in the end zone up 59-3 in your stadium with that dude up in the stands reading a book. Like, it was just a flat out, and 2 kids getting kicked out for fighting when they're down by 50 points. Like, it was just an unbelievable embarrassment. One of the low points in that stadium's history. And I just wonder, what's their mindset going to be? Are they going to be mad? Are they going to go in there and feel like, man, I just hope we don't lose by 50 again? I'm really curious how they handle this and how they come out, what kind of, if it's false bravado or if they really have some bravado that they think they can play with this team. It's a really good test. Not a test I feel like they're going to pass in the sense that they're going to win the game, but they could pass it if they compete with those guys and don't back down, because they backed down, man. They just completely melted and backed down and quit in that game. And Willie Taggart even said so at the end of that game after that game last year. So I'm really interested in what their mindset is getting off that bus. if they're already defeated, because we don't know if they're already defeated when they get on that field or if they really think they can win that game. Because part of me thinks there are going to be a lot of guys on that field that don't think they can win that game. And that's human nature. They just lost by 50 points to this team, right?
No, I disagree with you. I think that whole team's going to go there believing. I really do.
That would be awesome, right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be a great thing to see?
Yeah. I mean, this is, again,
I guess you can't quantify it, though, right? You can't tell really if a kid believes you're going to win or not. Maybe John Ross is just really good, or whoever that kid. Who's their
Ross.
Who's Clemson's good receiver?
Justin Ross. T. Higgins.
Justin Ross.
All
yeah.
of them. They're all good.
Yeah,
man.
they got a few of them. That's
They're
right.
all good.
I don't know why I said this to that one. But, you can't quantify if a team believes or not. But if they can play with that team, man, it will say an awful lot. Because I know you think that, and I kind of think that too. I'm kind of erring on the side of, I think that team. I think Florida State feels like they can play with them, especially watching the North Carolina film. They're going to feel like that. But once they get out in that setting, in that environment, and maybe they get down by a couple scores early, what in the world is that going to look like?
Yeah, that there is that sort of fear, I guess. But I think they'll be like 17. I think they'll go out there. They might be outmatched, but maybe keep it close, and then maybe they get a spark. Keep things competitive. Actually, it won't play out like that at all. I think the offense will actually move the ball. They'll score early, but then I think Clemson obviously will just. Their talent will supersede what Florida State has and their organization and things like that. But no, I think they're going to go out there and play pretty darn hard. I'm not ready to call an upset, but I do think they're going to play pretty darn hard. We talked briefly, he also mentions Big Steve 22 about the credit Willie deserves for all the changes. He says that moving away from a coach and being more of a president CEO, that's a big move. That takes a lot of credit. He knew the offense needed life, so he went out and got all these good coaches. Also realized the defense needed help, went out and got Leavitt. Nowadays, it's hard for people to put pride aside. I believe that is exactly what he did. Not to put him down any, but Jimbo would not have done that. That's true. It's true. We saw it.
True, but part of that also is self-preservation.
Yes.
Willie's not going to be around here long if he doesn't win games. And to win games, you need really good coaches. And he did not do a good job. It's been well documented, the pressure he was under to hire that staff and get it done quickly. But he did not do a good job putting that first staff together. I think this is a good coaching staff.
Absolutely.
Not an okay coaching staff. I think it's a good coaching staff. And if he has all this group together for another year, I think it's going to be a nice team in 2020. So credit to him. Yeah, he was defiant almost when we asked him if he was going to call plays before the 18 season.
Almost. He was. But
he was. Yeah, you're right. He was defiant.
Yeah.
But 1 year later, after what he saw, he's like, well, I'm not doing that anymore. So kudos to him, man. And it's been a huge benefit. It was a really good decision on his part, and he does deserve credit for it.
Yeah, my only sort of concerns there is that I don't know if he had how large his network is. Like, we know he went to Baylor and learned their offense, and that helped salvage things at South Florida. Obviously Jim Leavitt, being brought aboard at Oregon, that's kind of, where they have their ties or whatever. But, once those guys leave, if they do leave, I just wonder, who's his next kind of guys in line, because Dabo, at least with Chad Morris, started kind of grooming Tony Elliott, I think, and Jeff Scott to a certain degree. Like, those guys were kind of being seasoned and were able to take over and keep things rolling. I just do wonder if Kendall were to leave after 2020, I don't know if Ron Dugans or Telly or Dante is that guy that could fill in for what Kendall and Randy have brought to the table.
I don't think he'd promote from within. And again, we're talking, this is a hypothetical, but say Briles does leave in 2020. Well, look, it's Florida State. The reason he didn't hire a big time offensive coordinator in 2017 in December of 2017 is because he didn't think he needed one, because he was going to be calling the plays. Well, so after 1 year realizing that was a mistake, he went out and got, wouldn't you say, the best guy on the market, probably?
Absolutely.
Available anyway, the best free agent. And then say he knows halfway through 2020 that they're, whatever they are, 6-2 or 7-1, and they're averaging 37 points a game, and Briles is a hot name. And okay, he's probably not going to be here in 2021. Well, he'll start making some calls or doing some back channel searches and have somebody ready to go when Briles makes that leap. And it's not going to be hard to convince guys to come, good coaches to come be the offensive coordinator at Florida State. Even Walt Bell is a head coach. Yeah. And Walt Bell, I mean, ugh. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but he didn't do anything in 2018 that would make a program think, yeah, that guy's the real deal. We got to hire him to be our head coach. And that guy got a head coaching job. Florida State offensive coordinators, man, other than the one that came before Jimbo, they always seem to do pretty well.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Also, he's demonstrated the fact that he will stay out of your affairs. Like, he will let you run the show. So that's this is also a good thing. Kendall's success, but also the autonomy he's been given is very good for the marketability. Noel Dad 84. Wake up, guys. First time in a long time. Was just wondering if any of you have watched any footage of Landon Dickerson at Bama. Goes from being made of glass to destroying defensive linemen. Frustrating to see that as a Florida State fan, almost like seeing your ex at a bar, but now she's really hot. Anyways, as usual, go Noles.
That implies that you weren't dating a hot woman.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dickerson was good. He was really good. He just got hurt, which is unfortunate. I mean, what happened last year was just kind of that's not being injury prone. That's just negligence and bad luck, if anything. I mean, he had a high ankle sprain, the same sort of procedure that Tua had after he got hurt in the SEC championship game. I'm pretty sure that's what Landon had done to him, and then he just didn't properly maintain the stitches and the post-op sort of stuff and got an infection, and that's why they shut things down. And, he went to Alabama. He's playing in the interior, which is probably his future if he wants to do this for a living. I did go to Pro Football Focus. He is ranked using the methodology that Corey likes, checking out that you've at least played over half the snaps of your team. Offensive lineman, Dickerson is 144th. Pretty sure the number one offensive line for Florida State is Dante Lucas. He's 268th. So I have not seen tape, but he's graded out quite well.
We never question his ability. It's just that, every year he got hurt. And again, we're in the first week of October.
Yeah, true.
So we'll see it. And it's not sour grapes. Florida State would be better with Landon Dickerson on the football team. They just would. I mean, much better, probably. But, the problem with him that we always said is that he had a hard time staying healthy, and he's made it through 4 or 5 games at Alabama. Will he be playing in the playoffs? I hope the kid has a great year and gets drafted and has a wonderful career. But we haven't seen that yet. But, of course, looking at the dude, there was one play where he just absolutely mauled a guy. Like, just went and they were in pass pro. I saw this on Twitter. They were in pass pro, and his guy bailed out. So he was just looking around. He saw that, I think it was the guard engaged maybe it was the tackle engaged with the defensive end, and they're engaged, and Dickerson just comes across the line and destroys the kid. Like, sends him flying backwards like 3 yards, and he lands on his back. In pass pro, he got a pancake. So, of course. It's Alabama.
Yeah. They got to go into College Station next week. Let's see if his body can hold up to the aggressive attacking style of the Aggies.
Good point.
Candy for Knowles. The defense has definitely improved, but is it because they are, quote, doing their job, or because they are, quote, swarming to the ball? Aren't those two things different philosophies? That's a very good question, Candy.
That is a good question. I think part of it is the way I write or the way we talk. We talk so much in football speak that, like, you're swarming to the ball. It's like it's once you've done your job and you realize, okay, he's not in my gap, or I'm in my gap, but the play went the other way. I've done my job. I've held my ground. Now I need to go chase down where the ball is. That you're seeing more of that, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
When you say, and when they hit, they're hitting with it. Like Levante Taylor had a hit in that game. I'd forgotten all about it till I was watching the condensed game. Thanks, ACC Network on YouTube. And he had a third down play where the guy was going to get a first down. I think he had to get to the 33. He got to the 32.5, and here comes Levante Taylor up and slams him and pushes him back. I mean, it's a big hit, probably the biggest hit of his career. And it's like, okay, well, that's good to see, man. That's different. So you just see more of that, I think.
She finished it off with our front guys, quote, doing their job, a.k.a. filling gaps better, while our backfield is, quote, swarming the ball better. Is it both? Is it different every play? Yeah, to Corey's point. I mean, they're doing their job and then peeling off and going after the ball carrier. Good things are happening.
So, like, pointing back to the play I wrote about after that game, the Gainer play. Mm-hmm. Like, his job on that play was to rush the passer. Well, he didn't do a very good job of it. But the kid got the ball out quick. But he was rushing the passer. He didn't get there. The ball's thrown. Instead of just standing there and saying, okay, well, Cyrus Fagan and the other guys will make the tackle, he turned his butt and ran as fast as he could towards the guy with the ball and ends up stripping him. With Emmett Rice pursuing too from a pretty good distance to recover it. Just go after the ball and play hard. And it's not like I thought they played. I don't know. I never thought they were playing not hard in those first two games. They just were never anywhere they were supposed to be, except for the end of the Louisiana Monroe game. I was like, well, they just didn't want to be on the field. They had no business. They had no interest in making a stop at the end of that game. But other than that, I thought they were playing hard. They just weren't. I don't know. They didn't look like this.
Primetime 92. Hey, girls. Aslan, I recently went to Publix, passed the car with the license plate, 1 Aslan. Please tell me that isn't your car. No comment. Anyways, Corey, you are a media personality, a real estate mogul with houses in different states, and a bona fide all-star dad. How do you do it?
How do I do everything? I don't know. It's tough. And, I have a girlfriend and just, got a lot of spinning a lot of plates. But, some people are blessed. I was blessed with an ability to compartmentalize, number one, and just excel at so many different endeavors. Wouldn't you say that about me when you meet me? I just excel at pretty much everything I try to do.
I've yet to see you fail at anything that you've undertaken, personally or professionally. It's quite amazing.
It really is.
Also wants to let you know, Corey, that he, too, has a super sensitive stomach. No spicy or weird foods. I'm also super sensitive to the heat and roller coasters. Some call me soft. I call myself unique. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. I'm not... Yeah, I'm sensitive. I didn't used to be, but I think as an adult, man, if you've ridden a roller coaster, you would have had no reason to ride a roller coaster in the last 15 years.
I've never liked roller coasters. I've always had a soft stomach to that. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
So I used to love them, and I would ride them all the time. And then 2 summers ago, I went with my son and a bunch of his friends, and had a pass where we got to ride a bunch of them. Like we just got to keep going to the front of the line and ride a bunch of rides. And after like 4 in a row, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like I was dizzy. My legs were shaking. I'm starting to shake just thinking about it. Like my body, I think as you get older, and all my buddies were like that too, because I had a couple dads that were with me, and they're like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. Like it's just weird how like an adult body doesn't handle, at least my adult body and my friends' adult bodies, doesn't handle roller coasters as well as like a 13-year-old. What's that about, Aslan?
I don't know. I'll check it out.
Look that up.
FSU_JT. Wake up, Noel Nation. Sorry for the miscommunication last week on my travel plans. Hope you got my tweet, Aslan. I did. He'll be coming into town, homecoming for Syracuse, but staying down here in the Panhandle, Panama City Beach through Halloween, and then will attend the Miami game, the SmackDown, the following weekend. Big W, mark it down. As for the 2 Florida games, or you felon, as he writes out here, that he missed, 2009, he had a chance to travel to another country. Also, who wants to go watch that game in the swamp? Sure. And the second time was last year. Even with the team looking completely incompetent, I wanted to be there. I'd never missed a home game, but had some personal stuff. His mom. He had to spend time with his mom. That's fine. Well, that's all right. Anyways, on to this year. Really bummed about the bye week coming up because the team is beginning to show a pulse and shows fight. Really hoping the week off doesn't hinder the progress. Do you foresee the bye week being a problem for this team, or do you think it will help them going into Clemson? Seems like when the Noles have had too much time off recently, it hasn't really been a benefit. Also, I'm starting 12 at Clemson. He's been in those big game environments before, and the poise he shows when under pressure is why I would give him the nod.
Okay.
The bye week, I don't know. I think the bye week is good. Get a chance to center, fix some things up, clean some things up. Juwan gets healthier. That's a good thing. James gets healthier. That's a good thing in case 12 does start and doesn't get off to a good start, which he didn't against NC State. And I don't think you want to get, we'll talk about keys to victory and all that stuff next week, I'm sure, but I don't know. Actually, no, man. This team is going to play hard. I think even if they fall back, even they're down 21-0 after the first quarter, I still think they'll play tough, and the offense is bound to catch fire at some point. Not saying they'll win, but they could score 14 points and go into half only down 1 possession, and they have a whole new sense of belief. But, yeah, I mean, they're going to get a little bit healthier. Clemson will, too. I'm fine with that. And I don't know, man. I start Blackman, I think. I start Blackman.
Yeah, I start Blackman too. I would start Blackman. I I mean, the one thing that Clemson will make sure to take away, the one thing that they're scared of that they think will beat them is number 3. And so they're going to do everything they can to take away Akers. They do not want him to control the game. And by doing that, they're going to have more guys near the line of scrimmage, which means more guys on blitzes, run blitzes, or pass blitzes. They blitz a lot. And I just don't trust the offensive line to be able to hold up long enough on those plays for Hornibrook to be able to get a ball out and make a big play on it. As much as Blackman. I just think Blackman, you have to play a little differently because of the arm. But that said, I said it, that might be the only game. Maybe Florida. I just think, against Wake Forest, they're going to play so far off the Tamori and Terry that it doesn't matter who the Hornibrook will be fine. He'll have plenty of holes to throw to. But against Clemson, man, it would be nice to know that you got a kid that can throw it 65 yards downfield, and they're going to be scared of that. Or they're going to be cognizant of that. Scared's not the right word. And they might adjust the way they play. If they know Hornibrook's playing and the ball's on one side of the field, well, they know they don't have to cover another side of the field. Not with their corners and their secondary. They can, I just think it's different with Blackman. That said, if he doesn't do well out of the gate, you feel good about the guy that comes in and backs him up, right?
Yeah, I think this is like the last maybe sort of we owe it to you kind of thing. Whether you folks think that they were even coming out of training camp and maybe Hornibrook should have started game 1 or whatever. Let James get his job back, quote unquote. And if he sinks, then he sinks, and then that's fine. Then he knows he's smart enough to realize that maybe the other guy gives the team a better chance. But, what happened with Francois last year, James came in, played quite admirably. They did not win, but then was promptly sat on the bench. So do the same thing that you did last year.
I guess I did, and also didn't articulate it well. And it's just that I don't see this offense, even if it's playing okay, with this offensive line being able to go 9 plays and 75 yards. Like just churn out 5 first downs on a drive and then just have a drive down the field and score. The way they're going to score against Clemson, in my opinion, is on big plays.
Right.
And I think James Blackman gives you a better chance to hit those big plays. But then again, Hornibrook had 3 big plays, has had 3 or 4 big plays since he's been the quarterback.
We'll see that.
So he's made them too. They're different looking, but they're big plays too. So I don't know what I'm talking about, folks.
But here's the thing: the pro Hornibrook crowd, for their sake, the big plays that Florida State has had with Alex Hornibrook have not been sort of due to athleticism. It's been schematic. It's been catching the team completely off guard. So you need to be able to identify
absolutely
the bust.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a really fair point. And I just think at the end of the day, folks, there's just not much difference between the two.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to write about. There just isn't. I think Hornibrook maybe sees it schematically a little better, but I think Blackman also can make a few more plays that Hornibrook can't make. And at the end of the day, the production they've had is very, very, very similar.
It is.
I know it's a smaller sample size with Hornibrook, but it's been a very similar the production has been very similar. I actually looked it up. I think Hornibrook has had 20 possessions, and they've scored 8 times, 7 touchdowns. So that's 35% touchdown rate with Hornibrook. Blackman has had 45 possessions, and they've scored 14 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns. So about a 30 to 35%, somewhere in there. I'm not great at math, folks. 33% touchdown rate. So not a huge difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, when it goes to the bye week, I don't know, man. I just think Clemson's such a different animal. I think no matter when they played Clemson, it was going to be tough, obviously. I think it would have been a better answer to that question if they were playing like Syracuse. I think if they were playing Syracuse next, you wouldn't want a bye week.
Yeah.
I think you just want to keep going. With Clemson, honestly, I don't think it matters.
Rick Tees, 37. Wake up! I'm Rick. I'm from Port St. Lucie, Florida, birthplace of former Major League Baseball player Rick Ankiel, as well as FSU's own LaMarcus Brutus. You may remember Ankiel as the guy who invented the wild pitch before becoming a pretty solid outfielder. Scott Satterfield told you guys back in July we would know after a year and a half what we have with Taggart. Now that we are nearing the 1.5-year mark, what do you guys truly think we have overall with Willie Taggart? To me, the Taggart train is finally turning where we hoped it would go and heading straight towards another national title in 2021. All aboard! Also, Corey, remember the tweet you made about Hornibrook throwing with the wrong arm? Better delete that because he's our savior. Cues up the song from 2 Live Crew that's probably inappropriate for this family podcast.
I actually forgot about. I probably do need to go delete that. If he beats Clemson, I'm definitely deleting it.
Well, you better do it now because you got to do it now because someone's going to take a screenshot as soon as they hear this. So, or I got to delete this. Oh no,
it's fine. I've talked about his arm plenty. But yeah, that's probably not a great look. That the guy that covers Florida State made a joke about him when he was Wisconsin. But I got to own up to what I said. I got to own up to what I tweeted. I can't back down now.
I appreciate you. What do we have with Willie Taggart as we near the 1.5-year mark? Well, the failure aspect, like that abject horror show, that's out. We're past that. That's not going to happen. This team's not going to go 3-9 or 4-8. I don't see. So that's a good thing. You got a guy who has been able to motivate players and at least this season in some pretty tough circumstances, which has been impressive. A guy who's been able to step away, hand over the reins of the play calling to another guy who's admittedly better, I'm sure he would say. But I don't know how much more positive stuff I could say beside that because, again, but my whole thing is, all right, man, this is Florida State. This is good. They're getting better. They're going to win 7 or 8 games. I just celebrating that to me just sounds like a weird thing. And I know you have to realize where you came from, and I get that. But still, it's year 2, man. Nobody expected that they were going to be scratching and clawing for bowl eligibility in year 2, which they probably will be at certain points in the season. I got to see, man. I got to see what's going to happen next year when they're 6-1 and playing Miami or 6-1 and playing Clemson. Again, the tight games, and then really see how he manages as the CEO during really crucial situations and games that matter, that have real consequences. I don't know if he's going to win a national title here, man. I'm not ready to say that what I've seen over Louisville and NC State and to Virginia, it's trending in the right direction for sure, though. I will say that. But to say that it's trending towards college football supremacy, not ready to say that.
No, it's way too early. I think we'll all have a better gauge after the Miami game of this year. Just because they're about to be 3-3. I mean, I'm figuring them to be 3-3, and then they have Wake Forest, Syracuse, and then Miami. So we'll see where they are then and what they look like then, and if they're still playing like this then. And this wasn't just a 3-game blip, but actually what this program or this team is now. And I think we'll know how to feel about the direction this thing is going.
Let me ask you this, Corey, before we take a quick break. So this team has gotten better every single week since the Louisiana-Monroe game. Virginia to Louisville to NC State, we've seen positive growth. So, not their overall ceiling with Willie Taggart, but this team, like this 29 edition of Florida State, how many more steps do you think they have in them to keep taking? Like, are they nearing their ceiling for what this team can be, or do you still think there's a huge sort of room for growth for this season alone for the next 8 weeks?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think they're bumping their head on the ceiling necessarily, but I don't think they're like halfway down the room, closer to the floor either. I think they're pretty close to what they can be. They are a pretty good offense, average but improving defense, and solid on special teams. That's what they are. The steps that you want to see is how they handle rivalry games. If they can compete with teams, if they don't quit, if they battle, if they compete in Death Valley, those are the things you're looking to see. But as far as like what they can become offensively, defensively, special teams wise, I think you're kind of seeing it. I think that NC State game was about as good as it can get. I think they can be a little better offensively, honestly. But not much better because the offensive line. I think the defense, I thought they played really well on Saturday. I think that's about as good as this defense can play. And against not a good quarterback or a good offense right now. But I don't know that I can see them getting substantially better.
Okay.
I think they can, how Jimbo used to say, they can play moments better. And if they play the correct moments really well, they can still get 8 or 9 wins, probably 8 if they play those moments well. But they are what they are, right? I think it's just good to see that they can be this. Like that NC State performance was an impressive one, in my opinion. It was good to see that was at least in there. I don't know how many more steps they can take above that.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just curious, because if this team does keep getting better, like imagine what they'll look like in November if they continually get better, but there's no guarantee that they will get better.
Don't you think this is what this offense is, though? Like against normal defenses, you're going to score 4 or 5 touchdowns, you hope. And there's going to be a lot of hiccups, too. But it's just that offensive line is such a – they're playing better. I get it, and heaven knows they try. But there's only you can only be so good with an offensive line like that.
Well, I mean, maybe Juwan comes back. He's not a world's better than Abdul Bello, but he's better than Abdul Bello. I mean, Abdul Bello is one of the lower-graded offensive linemen in all of Power 5 football. So, I mean, you're going to get better there. That's left tackle. That's an important position.
Dante Lucas keeps getting better.
Yeah, so let's not discount that sort of stuff.
Let's hope. Yeah, let's hope, man. I hope they can find maybe a next. I think the defense is about as good as it can get. The offense might have another level it can get to. Let's put it. I guess we can put it that way. And you might get maybe Lander Dickerson wants to come back. Has he played 4 games? Can he get back in the portal?
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Knolls since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. Welcome back. It's Wake Up War Champ presented by Zaxby's. He's Corey Clark. I'm Aslan Hedgevandy. Thanks for being here, everybody. Let's get back to it. It's the Renegade Express. It's brought to you by First Commerce Financial. Check them out, firstcommercefinancial.com. Knowles MG4. Wake up. Good morning, my fine sirs. Could you please elaborate on the young wideouts and why you think they are not seeing the field? And not to bash the coaches, but the switch that moves a 245-pound linebacker inside should have been common sense, don't you think? Thank you. Keep up the 5-star work. I'm not going to toss shade at them because I didn't even think about that. Amidst all the struggles, never at one. I mean, I was thinking about maybe you put Lars Woodby in the secondary, but at no point was I like, why don't you bring Leonard on the interior, make him a Mike, make him one of your inside linebackers, and, pivot everything else off of that. Like, that never came to my mind, so I'm not going to bash them. Not that you did either. But I don't know. Maybe it was so common that it went over my head, and I don't have the mind.
I mean, it never really made sense to put your smallest linebacker in the middle, to me. But the way Mark Snyder talked about Warner, with the one time we got to talk to him at Media Day, he seemed over the moon with what he could do coming off the edge. He really did, about the way he rushed the passer, the way he was in coverage. He really liked them in that role. So, I don't know so much if it was them, completely miscalculating on Warner or completely miscalculating on Woodby. But either way, yeah, it kind of does seem like, man, their run game sure does look a lot better from the linebacker's perspective when teams are running between the tackles. Especially when they're running in the interior, when they have 35 in there banging bodies instead of 6. It just does. So I don't know if that's common sense, but yeah, it kind of seems like that. What was his other part?
Elaborate on the young wideouts and why you think they are not seeing the field.
Well, they who isn't seeing the field?
Jordan Young.
That's it, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, DeMarcus Adams, I think, has gone ahead and put his name in the portal, so that sounds...
Yeah, I think DeMarcus Adams is just a case of... they have their 2 slot guys and that they like a lot, and he was just number 3 on that list behind DJ and Keyshawn. And then Jordan Young, yeah, I am kind of surprised with Jordan Young, to be honest with you. That guy in August looked really good. He's just fluid. He's fast. Seemed to be a competitor, and I don't know that he's gotten on the field at all.
I don't think so. I can't recall.
I will say this, something that I noticed, and it might not mean anything. I don't know. But I guess when Florida State wins home games now, the players have kind of made it a habit of jumping up in the student section and doing like the Lambeau leap and sitting there on the railing. Well, when they won that, when I was on the field Saturday night after they beat NC State, and as soon as the game was over, Jordan Young sprints to the student section to go celebrate with the students. And I know that's a small thing, and nobody else even noticed it. Nobody else probably even cares. But I'm like, man, you would think that kid would just be completely beside himself and moping and upset. Man, I didn't even get to play when it was 31-13. Am I ever going to play? But no, he was genuinely excited that they won the game, and he wanted to go celebrate with the students. I think that's a good sign, right?
Absolutely.
I think that could mean something in a year from now or 2 years from now, that this kid really does seem to be invested and bought in. And now I say that, and who knows, he might not even be here in 5 months. But I was really impressed with, and I don't say that because I have anything against that kid. It's just that's college football in this day and age. But I was really surprised and impressed how excited he was about that game when he didn't play at all. That was cool to see.
According to Seminoles.com participation chart, he's actually played in every single game. That's crazy.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Like maybe on kickoff or something?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't.
Maybe he's like a gunner on punt team or something.
Yeah, maybe. We can ask Willie that on Monday when we get to talk to him again. See what he says.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise these receivers are doing pretty well. You know, I like
Thompson's
DJ.
playing a lot. I thought he played a lot of snaps on Saturday, and then obviously Keyshawn's playing a lot, and Ontaria's playing a lot. So they're doing okay. Trayshawn too, right?
Yeah.
Did you see Trayshawn's line, by the way, in that game?
I did not.
He had 5 catches for 7 yards with a long of 9.
Yeah. Targeted 6 times. That's good. When he's targeted, he gets the ball.
Well, yeah, but who has he had a 9-yard catch, and then then he had 4 catches for -2.
Well, because they keep
That's
throwing
great.
all that horizontal
They didn't put him in a
nonsense.
great position to succeed.
They did not. Sabaxley 12-12. Wake up, Corey and Aslan. It's a bye week, and while we're not 4-1 like I was thinking we would be before the start of the season, I'm optimistic with how we're improving. Just hope we continue getting better. Being the bye week, what do you two gentlemen have planned for the weekend? Travel, hang out with the family, maybe use this as an opportunity to make a Tinder date or two. Speaking to me, I'm sure. As always, you guys have the best podcast, not just covering the Seminoles, but in all of the podcast universe. Keep up the good work. Go Noles.
Amen. We're better than WTF or Serial or anything you want to throw out there. We're better than all of it. Yeah, what do you got? You got any Tinder dates lined up?
No. Just, a little chitty chat with some prospects, but nothing is solidly lined up. Man, I'm just sleeping. Larry, man, I'm not even lying. I have been sleeping and recharging and feeling like a human being again. I don't know why. Maybe because I was dating somebody last year, and I don't know, maybe I had more rhythm and structure to my days. I've been miserable. I mean, like, not much trying to play a violin. I mean, my job is pretty awesome, to what Corey said many times. But I have not been. I've been all over the place. But I've not felt right since Boise State week. So I've just been trying to get back to feeling like a human being. It feels great.
Well, once that happens, you need to get on Tinder and see what's what. Get out there.
I will. Yeah, what are you doing, Corey?
So not much really. Going to watch some college football on Saturday. Brady's got a couple. Brady's got a game on Friday, a game on Saturday, and then a tournament on Sunday. So a lot of baseball over the weekend. But hey, that's fun. I get to hang out with my son. I don't usually get to hang out with him on weekends too often. Don't get to see him play too often because I'm usually at college football games. So that's cool. I'm going to take advantage of that.
NYC
and probably get drunk.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to drink some
at
White
the games,
Claws.
at his games.
Okay, fantastic.
Yep. I like to tailgate before his games. That's not weird, is it?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
NYC Noel, I'm going to jump to his question because he's got a conspiracy theory, which I'll read after I ask this question, which is, Corey, how much are you spending, or how much should I spend on my son's under 10 baseball bat? They're getting kind of pricey.
I mean, yeah, man, they are pricey. I think I spent like $200 on Brady's, which I did not feel good about. And now it does have a lot of pop. And he started hitting a bunch of home runs in practice, which was cool for his confidence. So that was cool. But I don't know that it was legal. It might not have been a legal bat that my son was playing with. Who knows? But I would say anywhere from 100, and it depends on how serious you are and how serious he is, and hopefully not too serious as a 10-year-old. But I would say anywhere from 150 to 250. That's what I've seen, like the going rate for the really good bats.
All right, crazy. All right,
I know.
Here's speaking of money. Here's NYC Knowles' 2 cents to pile on the officiating conspiracy theories out there, and it's this: replay official is so incompetent he is influenced or told what to do by the game day commentator. Case in point, Janaris Robinson, his hit was not flagged. However, super slow replay, Hasselbeck states targeting could have been called. 5 seconds later, what do you know? Upstairs booth buzzes down. There is a review. Robinson's ejected. Fast forward in the game, Hamza gets flagged for targeting, and by the letter of the law, that was targeting. Hasselbeck comes to Nazarlene's defense, and what do you know? No targeting. Coincidence or incompetence?
So do you think they listen to the broadcast? Like, do you think they're watching the broadcast and like listening to it, those replay officials?
So are they getting buzzed from somebody in Charlotte, or is there somebody in Tallahassee or at the
No,
actual
there's a
game?
guy in Tallahassee that's watching the replay and buzzing down and saying, hey, we need to look at that again. It's just like at the Miami game last year.
Right.
There was somebody in a booth at that game that's supposedly watching all these replay angles that felt the need to not review that play, which is impossible. Same thing with the Virginia Tech game when Nooney scored. It's impossible that they didn't review it. But, yeah, they're supposedly in a booth watching it. I've always wondered if they actually are watching the broadcast, like the same broadcast we all watch, or if they've got a different feed. I don't know how that works. I should, I guess. There's probably been something written on it. Aslan, look that up.
Certain times they'll actually show you what they're looking at on the replay, like at home. Like, you'll actually see the replays they're looking at in the booth.
Oh, will they really?
Yeah.
So then they're not who? The people in Charlotte or the people at the game?
The people at the game. Like, you'll see what they're looking at. Like, when they're showing you the certain replays, like, that's not just ESPN freelancing sometimes. It's like, these are the actual ones.
So that guy probably has his own feed, or woman has their own feed.
They got monitors, but there could be somebody in that booth with them that is actually watching the ESPN telecast and is like, that's not a bad point. But I
don't know. That is a good question. I don't know that they have a headset on or actually listening to the call of the game, or if they're just sitting there like weirdos with no sound on, just watching replays. I don't know how any of that works, but we're going to find out.
More to Pride 0850 says, wake up. Usually not this petty, but I did enjoy watching the defense crush Bailey Hockman. It was good to see he didn't finish the game. Guess he will think twice about talking smack on Twitter. Wants a score prediction for the Clemson game.
Ooh, 38 to 20.
Okay. 41-24.
And I didn't even tell you who I think is going to win.
Either did I.
Yep.
Stevie J, FSU 422. Some bye-week fun. Who is more likely to stay at FSU following this year? Marvin, Tamorian, Cam Akers. Bonus, which of those three would you want back most for another year?
The one that's most likely to stay is, in my opinion, Tamorian. Yeah. But I don't think that's likely at all. Right, like I think Marvin's 100%, Akers is 99, and Tamarian's probably 95% gone. Like Akers, he can't come back and get another 300 carries. Like running backs Akers needs to be 100% too. Like he's given 3 years, but you can't. You only got a finite amount of time, man. Running backs, their careers are done by the time they're 30. You need to go make money while you still can before your body shuts down. Yeah. And so he can't put an extra year of miles playing for free, essentially. I know it's not free, but you know what I mean, when he could be earning a real paycheck up in the league. Right? Would you say that's accurate, those three?
Tamarian's line right now, he's 21 catches, 384 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's
okay. They've played 5 games.
Yeah. So, I mean,
so you're looking at if he, 50 catches for 900 yards and I don't know, 10 touchdowns. But I mean, so that Virginia cornerback is a guy that is supposedly a big time prospect, right?
Bryce Hall. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Tamarian left him in the dust when the game was on the line with basically a slant and go or an out and up. I can't remember which one it was, but the kid bit on it and he's 10 yards past him. That in itself is going to tell the scouts what they need to see. He's got that play against NC State. Like, what else does he need to put on film? Like, he does, yeah, so he's dropped a couple that he shouldn't have, but he's 6'2.5" or whatever he is, and runs like the Dickens.
I mean,
that kid looks like he's shot out of a cannon.
See, I don't see that. Like, I mean, he's
You
awesome.
didn't see that in that NC State game when he turned it on and just kind of, like, people can say the safety took a bad angle. Well, the safety had no idea the kid that's that size could move like that. And you'd think he would have because he played him last year. But he was completely floored by how fast he was when he actually put his foot in the ground and went.
You're right.
I think.
You're
and
right.
I just think that play against Virginia where he just completely smoked him, had a couple tough catches over the middle, was a really nice catch.
Just tap into little Kelvin and just close the season really strong.
Absolutely. Go for average 130 yards the next 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to leave us, but just come on, give us something really good.
Yeah, don't leave Florida State with an 815-yard season.
Yeah,
we want 13 bills.
Yeah. Renegade 1997, wake up! The Zaxby's Blue Salad with blackened chicken is my favorite. That's a good pick. I might do that for lunch.
I've heard good things. I haven't had it, but I've heard good things about it.
I believe keeping Briles and Leavitt at FSU for at least a few years is a formula for long-term success. Does FSU have plans to promote Leavitt to DC or co-DC and pay both he and Briles enough money to keep these elite coordinators from being hired away by other programs? Thanks for keeping it real and doing a great show every day. Well, you probably take that back because we did not do a show on Wednesday. Is there a plan to promote Leavitt to defensive coordinator co-DC? I don't have anything firm on authority. It's hard to imagine that he would come back just to hang out again for 12 weeks for 80 G's when he's already collecting $2.5 million or he's due $2.5 million for the next year or two. I don't see him not being here as a on-field full-time assistant coach next season. Will they pay them enough money? I would think so. I think the school saw what happens when you have a head coach who admittedly or obviously is probably not best suited at running a program and calling plays when he does not have a effective offensive line. So I think the hard way was displayed in 2018 of what happens when Willie doesn't have good coordinators around him at this level of football. I would think they would make the sacrifices, if you will, needed to keep these guys around monetarily. And I don't know if Kendall Briles will be in high demand. I would imagine this. There's even these coaches that know how good he and his father are still probably have reservations about. They've done it in the Big 12. He's done it in Conference USA. He did it in the AAC. But let's see him in a true Power 5 conference that plays defense. So there's probably going to be some head coaches out there that would need an offensive coordinator to help them keep their job, but I don't know how appealing it would be for him to leave here to go be an OC somewhere else.
I would be floored if he left to be a OC. I think the question, I think his next job is going to be a head coach somewhere, or maybe an OC in the NFL or something. But I think that would be surprising. I think the question is with Leavitt. Because Leavitt is appealing as a defensive coordinator, and he will get offers. That would be, he's not coming back here next year on an $80,000 a year salary to be analyzing stuff, to be analyzing how much you control your quality. He's not coming back to do that. He's not going to be here again to do that. So I think that's got to be something that behind the scenes is something that's obviously being thought about or talked about. Is how do we make this work? It sure seems like Barnett and him work well together. The returns have been pretty nice, but I don't know how it works going into 2020. But I do think they really want Jim Leavitt to be a part of the staff, and I don't think he's coming back as a quality control assistant. So you got to figure out what to do with him because other teams will come and offer him the job. Like there will be other teams in this country that say, "Yeah, man, we'll let you be our DC." We'll give you $700,000 to be our DC or $900,000, whatever it is. And he's not going to stay to be an $80,000 a year quality control assistant. So Florida State's going to have to figure out what it wants to do with Jim Leavitt. I think it'll be him being the defensive coordinator next year or at worst co-DC. But I do think that Florida State wants to keep him on board.
Absolutely. Let's take a few more. We'll shut it down. We'll
shut it down. Shut it down.
we'll have some stuff to talk about on Monday in addition to talking to Willie. Some of these questions are Clemson related, so we can save them obviously for next week. But C691027 wanted to give a shout out to them Ashburn boys. Remembers them shining like it was yesterday, and he knew they would. Wants to tell you, Corey, to stop at our exit in Ashburn, and he'll treat you to some great barbecue. So,
ooh, yeah. I guess I'll pass that. I can't remember what exit that is. Right back next week and tell me. Well, no, I'll go down this week when I'm already up in Atlanta, but when I'm driving down, I'm going to make sure to look what exit that is. Yeah. But old daddy can always eat a little barbecue now, Aslan.
Yeah. And let's see here. And let's go out on, let's see here. Oh, man, gosh, there's so many questions, man. We'll get to them all on Monday, though, I promise you, at some point. Let's go to this one. Garnett76. Greeting, guys. We've obviously had some misses on coaches since Willie was hired. Although he seems to be making the needed corrections, it seems like the misses were due to the timing of his hiring and the need to salvage his first recruiting class. Where do you think we would be today and long-term if he had spent an extra month or two interviewing candidates and gotten much better coaches, but wound up with a first recruiting class as bad or worse than what it was when he was hired? Keep up the good work. Well, I don't think anymore. It wasn't a lack of time. I mean, he offered the guys, and they just, I don't think if Jimbo would have left in October and he gets a job in November, does that mean that Leavitt comes with him, or he does hire Kendall Briles away from FAU instead of him going to Houston? I don't think so. He obviously he knew the right guys to go for. I mean, like Jim Leonard at Wisconsin was a name that we heard on defense. He wanted Jim Leavitt. He wanted to bring Mario Cristobal with him. Oregon's doing pretty good with him as their head coach. So he's got a good eye for coaching talent. I don't think any amount of, it's just that part of that calendar is just, it's a tough thing to work with. I don't know how much more time would really help things out. But yeah, I mean, say if you would have hired Briles and Leavitt last year, where is this team this year? I mean, I think they're 5-0. They're 5-0 in game days in Clemson, not in Gainesville.
Yeah, that seems like a crazy statement to make, but I 100% agree with you. I do think that, and I think, the timing or not, like he was in a rush to get people on board, and because he had to, and it just didn't work with Fry and Walt Bell. It just didn't. That was a bad combination. But I also think, and
Alonzo Hampton and David Kelly as your receivers coach.
Sure, yeah, those were reaches for sure. Maybe not Greg Fry, but the other three were reaches. And I think the biggest issue though is, in hindsight, he probably would have. He obviously thinks he should have hired Kendall. He could have hired Kendall Briles when he got the job at Florida State. You think Kendall Briles wouldn't come to Florida State? He would rather go to Houston. He could have gotten Kendall Briles. He didn't want Kendall Briles because it was his offense. He was calling the plays. He didn't need an OC because he was the OC. It took a year of just grossness to realize, okay, well, that didn't work. But in December of 2017, I don't think he was even on the market for a big-time offensive coordinator, right? Because it didn't. It was his offense. He was going to be running it.
Right.
So the mistake he made is obviously Greg Fry and Walt Bell and him. The three of them did not work well at all together. It just didn't work. But yes, in hindsight, he should have hired Briles and offered Leavitt whatever he needed to come to Florida State. And yeah, I do think they'd be 5-0. I absolutely do.
But hey, there's always next year. It'll be great. 2020. It's our year. It's all our year, everybody. All right, with that said, we're going to wrap it down or whatever. Shut it down. We're done here. We're done for the week. It's a bye week. Let me get some more rest. I'll be in a good mood to talk about Clemson. Maybe I'll even pick the upset. Corey, thanks for hanging out as always.
Thanks. Hey, Aslan, you're welcome, buddy. And I hope you have a good weekend, man. I hope everybody has a good weekend, but you especially. I don't know if you're going to get on Tinder, but if you do, I want you to connect with someone. Have a good time.
So
maybe
you're going to be
a
up
love
there?
Connection even.
So
not
you're
just
you're going to
a
stay up in
normal
Atlanta?
Tinder connection.
Are you going to stay up in Atlanta this weekend then? So I can't even go out and like drink with somebody and pretend I have a friend?
I can't even be your wingman. How awesome would I be as a wingman, by the way?
Dude.
Are you kidding me? Wait, are you Corey Clark? Is that Corey Clark, man?
Actually,
it'd be all over. There'd be a mob scene.
Yeah, maybe.
So
yeah,
it's a bummer that I can't be down there with you, man. I apologize.
He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's. We're going to have a 3-day weekend. I hope some of you do. If not, enjoy the rest of your Thursday and have a great weekend. Thanks for listening.
Unlike fanny packs, bowl cuts, and troll dolls, the sensation is back, only at Zaxby's. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich features hand-breaded chicken, Asian slaw, wonton strips, and citrus vinaigrette, and both are served with an egg roll. The Sensation Salad and the new Sensation Filet Sandwich meal for a limited time, only at Zaxby's. And skip the line when you order ahead on the Zaxby's app or on Zaxby's.com.